Who here feels like life throws challenges your way? I'm talking about financial challenges, medical challenges, legal challenges. Sometimes they can drive you to distraction. Tonight, I'm going to tell a story about something that happened to me many years ago that not only helped me cope with all these challenges, but helped me walk on top of them to do great things. Now, I want to warn you right now, I'm going to be going through this story fairly quickly, so make sure you stay with me because I want to make sure you get the gist of what I'm going to say. Also, stay with me because at the end I have a very special surprise for everybody here. So, are we ready to go? All right, let's do it. Mr. Toastmaster, members and guests. The story that I'm going to recount to you tonight happened when I was flying Cobra gunships in Vietnam. I was assigned to an aerial rocket artillery unit, and our primary mission was to fly out to arenas of combat and fire rockets into the vicinity of the opposing forces. On more than one occasion, when we would go out to these arenas, we would encounter ground fire. The opposing forces had two preferred weapons they used in this pursuit. One was a .50 caliber type machine gun that manifested itself with long red tracers. The other was a 37 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, further identified as being the same type weapon that Jane Fonda posed for pictures on when she was providing aid and comfort to the boys up in Hanoi. That particular weapon manifested itself with large, round tracers that looked like yellow balls flying up. First time I was ever encountered this phenomenon, I was distracted, discombobulated. I was all shook up. I would do things like scream in the radio, "We're taking fire, we're taking fire," as if that would do any good. And then, on one cloudy day, way out over the kingdom of Laos, it happened. I was hit. I could hear 1,000 angels singing, backed up by 10,000 flashes of continuous thunder. Now keep in mind, at this particular time, there were over 500,000 Americans in theater. There was an equal or greater number of the opposing forces out there. The Americans had thousands of aircraft. And on that cloudy day, way out over the kingdom of Laos, someone down in that green ocean of trees amongst the opposing forces with their hand on the trigger, they looked up in the air at all those aircraft. They looked to the left, they looked to the right, they looked high, and they looked low. They picked out one aircraft, me, and pulled the trigger. And as those red needles flew past the canopy closer than I had ever seen them, suddenly something happened. I was hit with a revelation that I was special. Someone down in that crowd had picked me out of that crowd up above, and I had never considered myself to be special before. I'd never been elected the most likely to do anything in school. I'd never been recognized for any great achievements. Even the school counselor laughed out loud when I announced I was going to attend the University of Florida. But on that day, way out over the kingdom of Laos, I knew I was special. And suddenly something weird happened. All those red needles and yellow balls flying up no longer distracted me. And for the first time, I concentrated fully on doing my job. And it was hard. Firing rockets from an unstable platform like a helicopter is difficult. But I concentrated and I concentrated and I concentrated. And I can say today, before you, in Sebring, Florida, without a doubt in my mind, when I left Vietnam at the end of that tour, I was the greatest rocket shooter there had ever been because I concentrated on doing my job. In later years, I used that same mindset in my business pursuits. One of my businesses, the Naples Marble Company, grew from a little small startup in a storage unit to becoming the largest cultured marble manufacturer in the state of Florida. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I was inspired to tell this story tonight by somebody in this very room. Rhoda Olson wrote an inspirational book entitled Led by Angels. She asked me to help her publish it, which I gladly did. And in the process, I became inspired by that book. And I became inspired by stories from my past. And I was inspired to tell others about it so maybe they could do great things. So tonight, I invite everybody in this room, as soon as this meeting is over with, pull out that little communication device, which I know you all have, and punch in there Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com, and immediately download Rhoda's inspirational book, Led by Angels, and I guarantee you will be inspired to do greater things. Mr. Toastmaster.